Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. So in today's video I'm going to be reviewing this violin, which is one of 4 violins that I have just recently been sent from the Fiddlerman. Now this one here is one of the 4 from the Tower violins that he has. All of those videos are going to be linked under this video and all of the other videos as well if you want to take a look at them. So this violin sits at number 1 in the Tower Strings branding. Now this is $229.99. I'll have all the prices up on the screen, which in the UK is roughly about £167. That is as of the exchange rate of today. This does come in various sizes, so according to their website, which I've just got up here, this comes in 4/4, which is full-size violin. So if you're an adult, you'll want a full-size violin. This is a full-size violin that I have been sent. Also comes in 3/4, half-size, quarter, eighth, and a 16th as well. So they come up really, really tiny. Now, as with all the Fiddlerman violins, to be perfectly honest with you, this one comes completely playable out of the box. The bridge is up, and it's mostly in tune, I would say. When these arrived to me, these have come from America all the way to the UK, and when I was tuning them a few minutes just before I started filming this, I was using my D'Addario micro tuner. I'll put a link to this in the description. This is the tuner that I always use when I'm out and about, when I'm playing at weddings, events, whatever it is that I'm doing, and I don't have a piano to tune up to. This device here is great because it just slots on the side of the violin like that. It's much better than those ones that kind of clip onto the pegs, in my opinion. So I'll link this underneath. So I was just using that to tune it, and they literally took me less than a minute, maybe a minute and a half tops to tune. As I said, it was mostly in tune. Everything was up and pretty much ready to go. I didn't have to fiddle with any of the pegs at all. I've got 4 violins sitting behind the camera that you can't see. Not one of them did I have to touch the pegs for, which is amazing. Usually with kind of the more cheaper violins, you do have to fiddle around with the pegs, especially when you get those really cheap violins that are just awful to tune. So no peg maneuvering going on with this. All I had to use was just the fine tuners, and I would say it was just out a semitone or a half a step. So an A had gone down to a G sharp, so it was just a little bit just turning it clockwise to tune it up. The D had gone down to a C sharp, and a G had gone. So they'd only just gone down a half or a semitone or a half a step. So I was just able to use the fine tuners to tune. So that's really, really good news as a beginner violinist, which is who really these are aimed for. So already that's kind of a massive win in my book, and I haven't even played it yet. So all you will need to do after that is just rosin the bow. None of the bows come with any rosin on. That is just standard with any violin. So you will just have to rosin the bow. Just spend a little bit of time rosining the bow. The violin, does have rosin in the case, so you don't have to go out and buy anything special if you don't want to. You can if you want something a little bit better, but you totally don't have to. So rosin is in the case. So my advice would be just to spend a little bit of time making sure that you've got enough rosin on there. You'd be surprised actually how much you do have to rosin on a plain bow just to get it going. The bottom line is, if you're not getting any sound out of the strings or the bow, or it sounds a little bit the tone is a little bit thin, a little bit wispy, doesn't sound like a nice full sound, add some more rosin. That's all it's going to be. So just a little bit about the violin. This is coming from their website. This is a solid carved spruce and maple tone woods, durable amber brown finish. So there's no thick lacquer. So as you can see, it's quite a satin finish. The other 3, and there's one behind me as well, they are more of a varnish kind of gloss look, for want of a better term. So this one is a little bit more of a satin kind of look. The wood is dried a minimum of 24 months, 100% ebony fingerboard, peg and fittings, which is really good. So there's no plasticness on here, apart from obviously the chin rest, which is fine. You've got a hand-carved Asian wood bridge. So most of the time when you buy these kind of cheap Chinese violins that you get off of Amazon, the bridges, you are expected to fiddle around and sand down the bridge. I mean, honestly, who knows how to do that? I don't even know how to do that. That, as far as I'm concerned, should be done before it gets put in the box and it gets delivered to my house. So, you know, violin luthiers that do all these kind of things and put these violins together, they spend years learning how to sand down bridges. You buy a bridge from Amazon for, you know, $50-$60, and you better believe that the bridge is not going to be set up. So the bridges come very, very flat to the point where you start playing and you're immediately hitting all the other strings. So they do expect you to actually go carving down the bridge. Like I say, that isn't my job. That isn't what I'm paying for. That's someone else's completely separate job. I'm the teacher and the player. You're the luthier. That's the job that you do. So this is a hand carved Asian wood bridge, which means when I was playing it, when I was tuning up, I wasn't hitting any of the other strings at all. So the bridge is all nicely set up. So if you do hit any strings when you're playing, you know it's going to be you and it's not going to be the violin. A lot of times with these violins and people just learning and they're just starting out, they're hitting a lot of the strings, and that's a really, really common problem. And the main reason for that is simply because the violin is just, it's just not playing to you. It's not allowing you to learn. It's really hindering your learning, because you're playing on a flat bridge, so you're not going to be able to separate or not hit any of those other strings because the bridge isn't allowing you to kind of isolate them. So you know that if you are hitting strings, it's going to be a problem with the angle of your arm, and it's not going to be a problem of the violin. So they say for strings, they can be prelude or fiddler man strings, or what we find suits each, you know, what we find suits the violin. So it just comes with standard, nice, decent strings. There's nothing wrong with these strings when I was playing them. The point is they're not going to be those really cheap and nasty ones. So it's all of the extra little kind of bits and bobs that are thought out when you are buying a cheaper violin. And it's a super false economy to buy a $60 violin when you're first starting out, because you think, I don't want to spend a lot of money. I just want to dip my toe in the water. I found a $60 violin. You know, I'll just start with that. It will be fine. It's a violin. But in reality, it's not fine, and they're not violins. They might look like violins, but they don't play like violins, and they don't sound like violins, and you can't learn on them because you can't tune them, for starters. They are horrendous to tune. I've played on them before, and I absolutely detest them, and I don't really condone them, because I think it's a false economy, so you'll end up giving up before you've started. So not only can you not tune them, but the bridge is a massive problem. So you're hitting the strings before you've even got out of the gate, and that's not really kind of conducive to a nice, pleasant playing experience. Okay, so demonstration time. So I'm going to play a couple of pieces here for you so you can see what it sounds like. I'm going to professionally record it with my microphone so that you can hear the true tone of what this is going to sound like. I will also switch to the recording that I've got in the room, so that will pick up, I've got a Zoom recorder in front of me, that will pick up the ambience as well. Okay, so my thoughts and opinions on the Entertainer. So this is the entry level of the tower strings violins, and I think it's a great entry level violin. Now, when I was playing it in the demonstrations, I felt I was getting a lot of smoothness from it. I really like that. I liked the way the bridge was angled. I wasn't really hitting any other strings. There may have been maybe one or two ever so slight kind of slight hittings that you might have heard in the recording. That's completely natural. That's just because I'm used to playing a certain violin, which is my own violin for many, many years, and I'm just not quite used to playing on a new violin. Aside the fact that that's my issue, that's nothing to do with the violin. I think the bridge is angled very, very well. Looking at the bridge, I really like it. I do really like it when bridges go quite far down on the E string, and by the looks of it, this one does. So I really like the angle of that, and you've got a nice little bump in the middle, which is also really good. So suffice to say that if you are hitting strings, it isn't going to be because of the violin. It's going to be you, and it's going to be a bow technique issue, which is fine because that's something you can work on, and that's something you can sort out. When the problem is with the bridge on the violin, you cannot sort that out. Well, you can, but I mean, it means kind of sending it back to the place where you got it from, or going to, paying $200-300 for a violin luthier to sand down the bridge, and you don't want to be faffing around with all that palaver. So the whole thing sounded very smooth. In my personal opinion, I think this plays better on the G string and the D, so I think it plays very, very well in the lower registers. Maybe not quite so... How can I articulate this? It's very deep, it's very dark, it's very rich, it's very velvety in the lower registers, and I feel like the lower registers is where this shines. The upper registers, maybe not so much. Maybe, I mean, it sounds fine in the upper registers, don't get me wrong on that one, but what I'm trying to say is it's not, the sound isn't quite so open on the upper registers, so you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't have it one of both ways. I think for $230, I think it's fantastic to even just have something really nice going on the lower strings. Normally you don't really get any kind of tone or flavour with the cheaper violins. What you are generally paying for is a better setup. The whole point of these is for you to be able to learn your craft and not be hindered by those really cheap kind of $60, $70, $80 violins that are just a complete waste of money. So yeah, this is a little bit more expensive than that, but as I say, for an entry level violin, this is about as low really as you would want to go kind of financially wise. So this has a one piece back, if anyone was wondering. Personally, I don't think it really matters whether you've got a one or a two piece back. There's no evidence to suggest that a one piece is better than a two piece. It just is. But this is a full one piece back. So in conclusion, I think this is a great violin, and I think it's aimed for anybody that basically just wants to start out but doesn't want to be hindered by the kind of those cheap ones that you get from Amazon. Those ones are just not a very good idea, as I've been saying kind of throughout this video really, but I'm kind of comparing it to those because this is kind of it's not on the same level of those, but I know people are either going to be looking at those cheap Amazon ones or the ones on eBay that are just, generic, bog standard, nobody knows what they are, they're kind of less than $100, or you're going to be looking at something like this from the Fiddlerman, and this is definitely where you want to be, guys, because buying a cheap violin for $60, you know, if you're sitting there watching this video and you have been a victim of that, you know that those are just essentially rubbish violins. You can't tune them, you can't do anything with them, they're just complete nonsense. You can't even get the bow on the string and get out a decent tune, let alone kind of anything else. So this is really great for someone who just wants to dip their toe in the water. You'd be better off just saving up a little bit more money and buying something like this. So if you are just starting out and you've got a violin, it's a really good idea to kind of set this up as a package and purchase my book series that I have in the background here. So if you are new to my channel here and you're just here for the review but you don't know where to start, you're just looking at a violin, then why not check out my 1 to 30 violin course. I'll have everything linked underneath this video anyway, with all the links to where you can purchase this, the other videos that I've done as well. and my book course. But this is my 1 to 30 violin course. This course guarantees to take you from a complete beginner, so all you need is a violin, guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to a very accomplished intermediate player. My course is slightly different to anything else that's out there in that it teaches you skills and information. So it's not a kind of learn by rote sort of thing, but I teach you everything that you need to know to be able to play the violin. So reading music, different bowing techniques. In fact, the demonstrations that you heard just there were 3 different pieces from my songbook 1, my songbook 2, and my songbook 3 as well. So there was a little bit of variation of the kind of level that you could be getting to if you're learning this course. So I'll put some information down underneath, but it's a really good package to kind of put together. So there is your 1 to 30 violin course. It comes with five books. All the videos are linked in the book as well. They're all available to watch on YouTube, so you can watch my videos on YouTube before you purchase any books, so you can just, you know, see what you're getting before you buy. But the good thing about it is that the first 10 lessons and all the handouts and PDFs and resources and everything are absolutely free. So you can why not try the first 10 lessons for free, and then if you like the first 10 lessons, then you can purchase the course and move on to do the songbook 1 and all the rest of the lessons. So, you know, you can't really kind of say fairer than that. So that's what I think about the Entertainer violin, and as I said, I think it's a fantastic violin to get with the package of books, because then you've literally got everything you need. You've got the violin, the bow, the case, all the kind of accessories that you will need, and then you've got your course there that you need as well. So for less than $300, you are set to take yourself from a complete beginner to a very accomplished intermediate violin player, and my course is 100% guaranteed to do that as well, as long as you obviously follow the videos and the books correctly. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this review of the Fiddlerman Tower Strings Entertainer violin. Please do check out all the links underneath this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.